This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Good morning, and thank you for keeping it with us here on UBC TV. It is exactly 4 minutes past the top of the hour, being 9 a.m. I don't know where you are, but in case you've reached your destination or workstation, then that is good. In case you're still on the way, well, hurry up. No excuse of rainfall. It's not showered early morning, and in case it has, well, we know we have two rain seasons, and this is our main rain season, so that shouldn't be an excuse. I'm Robert Chirabo Nyonyitono, and this is Good Morning Uganda Extra, an extension of Good Morning Uganda. And just to remind you, every weekday we are here from 6:30 till the hour of 10, where I come in with this extension. Now today we are going to be discussing issues regarding, that is, public procurement and disposal of public assets. Now what does that mean? That, well, my guest automatically comes from PPDA, that's the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Authority, established by an Act of Parliament in 2000, and that is right now. We're going to be discussing more, to be more specific, that is the East African Procurement Forum that is going to be running in Uganda. That is from the 23rd to the 24th of this month, which is Thursday and Friday. Now join me, welcome the Executive Director of PPDA, Benson Tuliame. Hope I pronounce it very well. Tuliame. Yes. You're most welcome.
Thank you, Robert.
It's really a pleasure having you. I know there's so much questions, though this time it's not about PPDA, but the East Africa, that is a procurement forum. Now, just to create more picture of my guest, when we talk about PPDA, help us to understand what do you do, what is your mandate, then we shall dive smoothly into the topic of the day.
Thank you, Robert, and good morning, viewers. The PPDA, the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Authority, was established by an Act of Parliament, as you said, in 2003. It's a statutory government body which was put to regulate the public procurement and disposal processes. The reforms that came into globally, not only in Uganda, in the financial management systems, also went into public procurement system essentially because of the amount that is spent through public procurement. For example, in Uganda, more than 60% of the annual budget is spent through public procurement. So therefore, these reforms decentralized public procurement. Before 2003, all procurements were handled by Central Tender Board here in Kampala. If you want to buy an X-ray for Arua Alfaro Hospital, a requisition or request is done by Arua Alfaro Hospital, sent to Minister of Finance, Nkrumah Road, Central Tender Board, then they process all that. But after 2003, procurement was decentralized to these government entities, meaning that each procuring and disposing entity of government handles the procurement process right from the beginning to end by budgeting for their needs, raising requisitions, maybe before the requisitions, having procurement plans for a year. Then within the procurement plan, the user departments raise requisitions, and the requisitions are approved. They call for bids. The bids are received by these entities. They are evaluated. They are awarded. They sign the contracts. The contracts are executed and paid for and closed. Mm-hmm. And we are talking about entities in form of ministries, central government ministries, parastatals, district, local government, municipal councils, city, councils, and the commissions, government, universities, referral hospitals, all those, and we are talking about around 355 procuring and disposing entities. So that process, the whole of that process is handled at the entity level. So at times people have misconception that PPD was established to award contracts. No, we don't award contracts. We only provide oversight to ensure that that process, the whole process, is done in a transparent, in a fair, competitive, and actually delivers value for money, for the good of service delivery to our citizens. So if that process is actually done in that manner, then the PPDA as an authority may not actually come in. It can only come in if there is a complaint. If a bidder is dissatisfied with the process at any stage, whether it is an evaluation, whether it is a bidding document meaning maybe the specifications that have been put in this bidding document are tailored to one bidder, or they are unfair, he can come in and review that bidding document and then advise the entity on where to improve. If it is after the contract has been signed and paid off, we come on board to do what we call procurement audits. Did the process, was the process handled well? Did the contract deliver the objectives of that project? That is where we come in. So we do the performance audits or contract audits, and at times you find the project is done well, the contract is done well, but then if you look at the ultimate objective of this contract, were they achieved? I will give an example. You can contract, you can go through this process I talked about, have a contract, build a health center. A health center as a building is there, but is it used? Is there medicine in this health center? Is it staffed? Are they medical personnel? So if the objective was actually to reduce disease prevalence in the area, or reduce distances of pregnant mothers to this health facility, but when we go there to do an audit and we find actually even pregnant mothers leave that health center in 1 kilometer and go to 5 kilometers away, meaning that actually the services are not being provided and the objective was not achieved as was said from the beginning.
Now, Edie, a quick one on that, looking at your mandate. Government has a number of institutions established by the Act of Parliament, and they have different mandates. But to what extent does PPDA go into enforcing, apprehending? You know, what do you do after when you discover? We're in a country where reports are made. You know, they show losses of money, they show abuse of procedure, and we keep them. The media report about them. We tell Ugandans only to leave them annoyed and upset, and that passes. And then something else we wait crops up. At the end of the day, yes, you do good work, you expose these people, you let the people know that something wrong is happening, but then to what good is that?
No, you can imagine maybe if PPD was not there, maybe what could be happening to the procurement processes? Maybe the tenders would be awarded to friends and relatives. Tenders would be inflated, highly inflated, costs will be escalating through the roof.
Is it to say that this doesn't happen in our country?
No, because the processes are competitive. And actually, it is against even the law if an accounting officer, whether it is the district cow or the permanent secretary or the executive director or MD of an organization, signs a contract that is highly inflated, that actually is higher than the market, the established market prices. It is an offense. And at the beginning of every procurement, accounting officers establish the market price. So when the competitive process is done, then they have. Of course, we have been tussling with variations, and I'm glad to also to report the Attorney General, KK, has come in handy to reject those variations and justified variations. So therefore, so that we work within the contract prices. Our study, we do in the audits actually, we have done that, and we have all, it is not yet like completely off. Only 24% of the contracts go through get variations. 76 are completed within, 76% are completed within the contracted price. And we have all that data in terms of cost variations, time variations, and the contract signed within, completed within the established initial contract price. So we have that information, and the systems are improving. I'll tell you, if you have seen people like police, which is in charge of law and order here. The traffic police, I'll give an example. The drivers, as they tend to reach where the traffic officers usually stand, you see them reducing and being careful and drive carefully. And that is the thing. We are like watchdog. Yes, we are. And people know, PPD will come. Even when they are like some influence peddling, and they are trying to put this to the accounting officer or their PDU. We have had cases where I say, no, I can't do this. You are my boss. But PPD will come and question this decision that is illegal that we are going to take. It keeps that check. But I agree with you. There are many agencies that, and we work with them. We work with them. If I have a case that needs prosecution, because we don't have prosecution powers, then we refer it to the DPP or the IGG, the Inspectorate of Government. If it is, if I go to review a contract and I find that actually there is clear corruption allegation or indication that actually there was corruption in awarding this contract, then we refer it to the Inspectorate of Government for further management, further investigation, because they are more competent in terms of investigating corruption. If it is a matter to do with further CID interrogation, then we refer it to police, and they interrogate those cases. Similarly, if Inspectorate of Government finds a procurement irregularity in their course of action, they usually refer them to us for technical input and technical reports. So we are working together as a team, and as saying that in syndicated corruption, we have also syndicated as agencies, including the State House Anti-Corruption Unit. We work with them closely. They have given us cases of procurement. We have investigated them. They have prosecuted people. I may not want to give cases here, but a number of government officials have been prosecuted by CID based on our reports. So we are not there in vain, and we are improving every time. I'm glad also to report that in 2021, our PPD law was amended on the directive of His Excellency the President, to include things like to improve efficiency, to have efficiency.
So all we can say is that it is work in progress.
Yes.
And it might be an uphill task. But well, we are optimistic for the best that some of these irregularities that sometimes come up, well, we minimize. We may not be able to have them totally on a clean sheet, but at least minimize their occurrences or reoccurrences. Now, yes, going to the topic of the day, that is the 14th East African Procurement Forum. Now, this is the 14th. We've had a number of these. Actually, it was supposed to have taken some time back just because of COVID-19. What is this all about? It is a regional thing. What is the main objective of hosting such, having such?
Thank you again, Robert, for taking me now to the real subject of this discussion. We are 1 day away, for this is on Thursday, 23rd, and we are the host country. Uganda is hosting the East African Procurement Forum. This forum started in 2008, and again, we are the pioneer host country to host it. As the word procurement, it brings the procurement regulatory bodies of the 7 countries. Then we were 5: Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, then back to Uganda in that rotational sequence. Even now, as much as we have brought on board Congo and South Sudan, they have not been able to host any. So on a rotational basis, when we started in Uganda, then we rotate like that: Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, then Uganda. Essentially bringing together the practitioners of public procurement, the academia, those who are in areas of public procurement, the professional bodies. As much as Uganda, we haven't actually established a law to establish a professional body, which is in the offing. The other countries have professional regulatory bodies in terms of regulating the profession. Like if you are a procurement cadre, a procurement person, officer, and you misbehave, what are the penalties and which we are working on in this country. It also specifically spearheaded by regulatory authorities in these in these 7 countries, but also bring on board the East African community on board. So this forum, the beauty that it has been embraced by government. We work very closely with the Minister of Finance. They have embraced it. The top technical, the top management of Minister of Finance, they have, including the Honorable Matia Gasaija and the rest of the ministers. The first Deputy Prime Minister, Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, has embraced it. We even had a corporate lodge in Kampala, where she presided. So it is generally a forum that brings together to discuss issues concerning public procurement, but generally also issues concerning the advancing the East African procurement, the East African Common Market Protocol. Because, as I mentioned, a lot of money is spent through public procurement. So if it is spent through public procurement, now how does Uganda benefit from contracts awarded in Kenya? How does Ugandan contractor benefit from contracts in Tanzania or Rwanda, for that matter, or South Sudan, which is actually still very weak in terms of those reforms in public procurement? And what we are talking about, initially when we started, we were talking about harmonization of procurement legal frameworks. If we are saying we open up through open domestic bidding, open national, does that also apply in Kenya or Tanzania? Well, if we talk about local content, for example, reservation and preference schemes in public procurement, does a Ugandan benefit from a reservation in Kenya? Does a Kenyan benefit from a reservation in so harmonizing those legal frameworks so that we have provisions that will support our countries in the sustainable national development. So the reason we are bringing on board now, seriously, the East African procurement, the East African community, so that it becomes an agenda of discussion. And there is no segregation, there is no discrimination between these countries. And you have heard, especially His Excellency President of this country, saying there is no difference between a Ugandan and a Kenyan.
That well said. Now, this is the 14th.
Yes,
we've had about 13, a number of them now. ED, are there any tangible results? Because Uganda is one of the countries that we are good at conferences. We year through moving these hotels. We've had international conferences. Now this is a regional one for the East African. But what have we achieved from the previous that we can cherish? Because one of the things you've mentioned is these differences in procurement laws, where most of the times, I don't know why, Uganda, we are wide open for our counterparts to benefit from our processes. Yet, they are a bit stingy or rigid when it comes to them. So over a time, is there anything we can look at and say that because of the 13th East African Procurement Forum, we achieved this?
Yes.
And this gives us a ray of hope that the 14th, we are going to push deeper and achieve more.
Yeah. Yes, Robert, I think that is a very good observation. And it is important that we tell the viewers about those achievements. The 13th procurement forum was in Kigali, and then they passed on the mantle to Uganda to host this year. Of course, we missed around the COVID time, but some of the emerging issues that even you can see, and I'll talk briefly on the lessons that we learned during COVID pandemic and the results that now almost every East African procurement country or every country has embraced. How do you handle emergency procurements? And that was a topic of discussion in Kigali. And every country has put now guidelines on managing emergency procurements. And in preparation, even in that direction, now 4 out of 7 countries, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, and Kigali, actually Rwanda was ahead of all of us in terms of automating the procurement process. So sharing that experience and seeing the results that are coming as a result of automating the procurement experiences, all of us are embracing it. And Uganda has embraced it already, electronic government procurement. You can now sit in your bedroom, see notifications.
It's all about e-government system now.
Yeah. But the embracing, the acceptability and moving on fast. When you learn from someone who is already doing it, then you move highly, and even acceptability, change management is done because you are not inventing the wheel. So this country has said, I've done it like this. For example, Kenya wanted to do it under like FBS arrangement. Why can't we integrate it under the financial management system? They tried it didn't work. Now they are now having it as an independent system that will handle the procurement processes. We have Zimbabwe here. They are actually now currently talking about recruiting, procuring an EGP developer. And they are learning. They are even coming to learn more. Eswatini, they are learning. They want to come and learn on EGP. But more important, now the discussion on the table is local content, reservation. Why should a Ugandan be discriminated, as we said, against a Kenya provider? And those are the issues that we discuss and say, let's harmonize, because we are all East Africa community. There is already an East Africa protocol, which we must adhere to. And in this, as technical people, we talk, and our political leaders listen, so that they continue advancing that agenda. It shouldn't be only on trade, but it should be also on contracting. If there is a road in Kenya, Uganda with capacity should go and compete for it and do it. And that is what we are discussing, really. And it is important, I think, for the business community in this country. If we are exporting medicine, you make medicine here, you can export freely without those bottlenecks and embargoes that would be put. And these are areas. And we are bringing this because there is a lot of money, a big percentage of the budget that is spent through this arrangement of public procurement in all these 7 countries.
Well, we are discussing the 14th East African Procurement Forum that is going to be held in Kampala from Thursday to Friday. And this is a regional forum where we're expecting member states from the East African community, most of procurement departments, professional bodies to be part as we draft our way forward to move together as members within the East African community so that these opportunities would not segregate ourselves. That is main on agenda today, according to my guest in studios. But also, when we return, we want to know who is supposed to be part of this, because attendance is by invitation. These are big forums, and it's not at will or at any time that you should go and attend. Well, the ED will be taking us through who is, and of course, 2 days, what's the program going to be like? I know there are some people who are usually busy, and you want to go for that particular area where your interest is than spending an entire day there. I know Ugandans, you go to a conference, and sometimes morning hours, the whole hall is full. After tea break, some have free to move. Then in the evening, some come in. So we want to look at all that and its participation by free or there is a fee to charge. Let me return after this short break. Stay with us here on UBC TV. It is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
The Tales of Kasozi, brought to you by Uganda Communications Commission.
Hello?
Hello?
This is Kasozi. How can I help you?
Hey, Kasozi, my brother. Long time. We last met when we were at campus. It's been a while, but you are the person I'm looking for.
Campus? Really?
Hey, you don't remember me?
Okay, so how can I help you?
I'm stuck in Gulu making millions, and I need to urgently send money to my sick mother. But I can't find any mobile money agent near me. I've sent the money to your phone, as you can see the message. It might take a few minutes to come through, but I urgently need you to send the money to my mother. Let me send you her number, and you send it to her chap.
My friend, I'm afraid your mom is going to die.
What?
Because I don't know you, I never went to campus, and I'm also in Gulu. So can we meet at CPS, we talk about it?
Stay tuned for what Kasozi does next.
Tofera. Refrain from unnecessary engagements with strangers over the phone. This message is powered by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We're descending into Entebbe Airport. For those proceeding to Kampala City, the biggest event in East Africa is in town.
That's right, the East African Business Expo 2023 is happening from the 23rd to the 26th of March at Kololo Grounds. Join us to network, connect, and grow. Contact us for exhibition or sponsorship opportunities. The 14th East African Procurement Forum and Business Expo 2023 is hosted by PPDA.
Now sit back and relax. It's time to explore great business opportunities.
Glow as you are with the new Spark 10 series smartphone from Airtel in partnership with Tecno. Own the timelines with picture-perfect selfies using the 32-megapixel selfie camera, 256GB storage, G88 gaming processor, and a strong battery to last the whole day. Haha, Towakana.
The Spark 10 smartphone comes with free 3GB from Airtel and 100% bonus on weekly and monthly bundles every month for 3 months. So you can stay connected to a world of possibilities. Dial *100*5# to enjoy free data. The new Spark 10 is available in all selected Techno shops countrywide. Airtel, the smartphone network in partnership with Tecno. Stop at nothing.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Welcome back from that break. It is still Good Morning Uganda Extra, and we are looking at the 14th East African Procurement Forum organized by the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Authority, PPDA. And with me in studios is the Executive Director of PPDA, Benson Tuliame, with whom we are discussing this function that is going to be happening in our country. But before any further ado, I see clarity from you. We're talking about the East Africa Procurement Forum and Business Expo. Now, have we had changes? What happened to the Expo? Let's begin with that clarification in just a few minutes.
Okay, thank you again, Robert. The planning initially was to have the two activities run together alongside each other, and we had booked Kololo ceremonial grounds, and the East African Procurement Forum is by invitation. We are having delegates that are coming from Uganda and all these other countries, the 7 countries, on no allocation basis. For example, 35 delegates are already flying in tomorrow from Tanzania. So the forum is going to have 200 delegates who will be ushered in the forum and discuss the forum business. Okay. And maybe later we'll talk about what are we going to discuss. And rightly, these are not only government officials. The delegates include also the contractors from these regions, those who are doing the suppliers, the academia, the training institutions, the professional bodies, representatives, but mainly organized or invited through the regional authorities in those countries. And alongside the 200 invited delegates, we had planned to have a business expo. A business expo meaning you will have exhibitors of suppliers, contractors, those who have even the Kayola bus that is manufactured here, the service that the government is providing. We have training institutions. We're going to have, training sessions. For example, how do I register on EGP? How do I, what if IFRIS, like now you are has introduced IFRIS for business community, how does it help in business, and how do I register? How do I register in Uganda Registration Service Bureau? Then those who are suppliers, manufacturers bring their products so that the East African community and those participants and the public for that matter would then visit these stores and see what we have for the country, from the country, and what business we can do with these other countries can benefit from this country. However, our venue has been, we had a challenge recently, just 2 days ago, that Kololo ceremonial grounds, government has another important function that they want to hold around the same date. So with that, quite the prioritizing of government program, then we pulled off the business expo, because that would need a very huge space to put all these exhibition tents, to put the training tents, and therefore we have put the expo off this arrangement, because we have already invited the delegates. they have already booked, and most of them need a lot of time to get permission to travel. We have business to accomplish on the forum. So we have decided, government has decided that the forum continues. We change the venue, and we have changed it to Sheraton Gardens. That is where we are going to have the forum. Then postpone the expo. And therefore, for this reason, I want to inform all the exhibitors that had actually expressed interest. Because we had a partner, in events management partner, who was mobilizing these exhibitors in the names of FIPLO. We are communicating, and this is the beginning of communication, that the expo has been pulled off and postponed to a later date that will be informed.
Okay, well, that clarification well made, and of course you've mentioned invitation. It's not by will but by invitation for you to be at this forum that is happening tomorrow, that is happening on Thursday and Friday. Well, it's running from the 23rd to the 24th, automatically being Thursday and Friday of this very week. So if you must, and of course you're invited, it's just a reminder, if you're not yet booked your ticket, then not so much time is there for you. But also, when you talk about this forum, one of the things that still comes to my mind, what is the program of the day, if you're at liberty to help us know? Because 2 days, all we know is there are going to be discussions. Have you lined up specific topics or specific way that this forum is going to flow for these 2 days?
Okay, thank you, Robert, again. We have the program of the day. Our guest of honor will be the Right Honorable Prime Minister, Madam Prime Minister will be with us for official opening sessions. Madam Nabanja will be with us, and she has already confirmed on the invitation of my Minister of Finance, Honorable Matia Gasaja. Therefore, by that virtue, that the host actually, the Minister of Finance, the top government officials, including the ministers, will be present at the official opening. We also expect the first Deputy Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Rebecca Daga, as the Minister specifically of East African Community Affairs. The session, my board will give an opening introductory remarks, my board chairman, Julius K. Shonjisa, and thereafter those high officials will give remarks, but officially will be flagged off by Right Honorable Prime Minister Nabanja. Then it's an interacting session, very, very interacting. Thereafter, as a host, then we have to review the question you asked me: what have we achieved in the last 13 years? Rwanda commissioned a study in that direction. A consultant went through all these countries and say, these were the resolutions on the first of the first forum, of the second, up to 12 that time. What is the status of achievement? And then I will give the presentation on the status of all those 13 forum and where each country stands. And if there are challenges on the resolutions for those past resolutions, then they will be discussed. I said it is interactive. Every session has panel discussion with a moderator. I'm glad to announce that our own here, Maurice Mugisha will be our moderator of most sessions. But more important, we'll talk about electronic government procurement, and Rwanda will give experience. The theme is open contracting for sustainable national development. What that means is access to information. Open contracting actually simply means access to information by the citizens. How can the procurement information be availed and access to the citizens so that they demand accountability from office bearers? Because if you're a citizen, I don't know even the cost of this flyover. If you're a citizen, I don't know that this flyover, this contract of flyover in Kampala is supposed to take 2 years. Then you'll never even ask questions. Or you'll start imagining in your head that maybe this project has delayed. But do you know what it is supposed to? What time it was supposed to take? Do you know the scope, first of all? You even don't know the scope, whether they were supposed to put a dual carriage, whether it was a double lane. So we are saying now for the region, let's embrace availing information to the citizens through open contracting.
Because that's the only way they can hold people accountable.
Yes.
And I must say, ED, I must commend some effort, though so much still has to be done. I've seen a number of billboards, would I call them billboards, of government projects that have who is the contractor, but they don't put the money.
Now you will see, under open contracting, you will see that money. They don't put the money.
I only see this is the contractor contracting this, then is it a graphical something of the completed project? They don't put the money and the duration. So please, I think this is one of the things they must talk about. We need to know the duration. We need to know how much money has been invested. We may not be technical, definitely, but these can create curiosity and, of course, interest among us. If it's a 3-year project, and I know the flyover is supposed to be done by this time, then I'll have something. But well, all said about the conference, I see time is flying so fast. There is an issue that has been coming on my phone as I've been hosting you throughout the program, and Ugandans are concerned. They're saying, tell the ED to explain to us what is direct contracting and its justification. I don't know. That is up to you to answer.
Okay. I want to appreciate...
It must be a very disturbing issue. Because it keeps on popping.
Yeah. You see, the law, again, put different procurement methods. They're established by law. Open international competitive bidding. That's the method. I think that is straightforward. It means that you advertise anybody in the worldwide can participate in that procurement. Open domestic bidding. It is also domestic, meaning that is only the nationals that can compete for that contract. We have restricted bidding. Restricted is like you have qualified service providers or companies, then they go with thresholds. Open international is high threshold, domestic is next, restricted where you invite at least 3 bidders. They are. Then when you talk about direct procurement, simply means single sourcing. It is not competitive. You are going to get a single bidder to submit a bid. It also requires that actually you have your requirements as a procuring entity. You have prepared your bid, assuming you prepared it as if it is competitive bidding. Because your requirements, if you want to build this building,
yes,
the requirements are really the same, whether it is a single bidder, whether it is a competitive bidder. So you prepare your bidding document and put all the requirements and specifications and whatever, if bids of quantities. Then all the terms really of the bidding document are as if it is not one person, one bidder. But when they say direct procurement, then it means it is single sourcing. You are going to issue this bid document to one farm. The way you have selected it, you have to justify as a user department, and this farm that you have picked must be approved by the contracts committee.
Now I
in
see.
an entity.
Now I see why many messages are coming
Yes.
up on that. So because it's like, now it's justification, a quick one.
Yes.
What brings this in place? I mean, open, domestic or international, the best takes it all.
Yeah.
Now here, it is selecting an individual.
It's at times it is conditional based, because if you have one supplier, for example, UBC may want to procure installation of power line here. Do you have to, UMEME is a single supplier. So you go directly to that. So if you have a single supplier for your products, then it is a waste of time to go open bidding. And they are there. You want to buy a Boeing a 707, it is only manufactured maybe by one supplier, then you don't need to advertise it. It is very clear like that. But at times, under Section 85 of the PPDA Act of 2003 also puts, direct procurement is there. And there is, whoever has asked can read that Section 85. It is very clear on the conditions that must be fulfilled. At times, it is for continuity. You have procured machinery in Morago, and now, after installation and whatever, you want to procure sundries for that input, it is Philips or whatever. Now, the only supplies or the only materials consumable that can go into this equipment are from that. So compatibility, if there are spare parts, for example, you may not need to open it. It's compatibility. So that's why that method was put in the law.
You can't get from Honda, then you go to Yamaha.
That is the thing. So compatibility or continuity, you already using similar systems. I've had cases of, especially like IT systems. You have an IT system supplied by this supplier, and you want to continuity. Like EGP now, we are in 36 entities. But if I want to expand it to 100, I can't say I go to another supplier, because this system must be applied to all the government entities. So that's the justification we are talking about.
Well, I hope my viewers, many who are questioning that is a direct procurement, it's been well answered. And of course, the ED has also provided for you a section of the law that you can read and better equip yourself with knowledge. I must let you go, but what is your parting shot?
My parting shot, I want to invite the delegates. We have already international delegates. We have countries, Zimbabwe, Eswatini, Somaliland, and the 7 East African, with many delegates. I want Ugandans, as usual, to be hospitable to these delegates. I want to urge the hotels that are going to accommodate these people to depict professionalism, because we are talking about the forum, but there is more than the forum. We want to encourage also our delegates, when they come, to visit our national parks, to go and see Bindi, to go and see Machon Falls, and see these important features that this country was blessed with, so that there is some money that remains here. For our national delegates, we usually invite accounting officers, but there is too much delegation. You say this is a PPDA matter, then you delegate procurement. But procurements, we have invited them. But we also invited heads of institutions. So we want to invite you so that you come and show cause why procurement is can transform this country. We need your technical submissions. We need you to embrace this and appreciate that you will never transform this country. You will never deliver effective services to our citizens when you have not empowered or developed the procurement systems in this country. I thank you, and may God bless all of you.
Well, thank you so much, Executive Director, PPDA, which is Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Authority, for your time. And of course, we have been discussing the 14th East African Procurement Forum that is going to be running from Thursday till Friday here in Kampala at the Sheraton Gardens, where all invited guests make sure you turn up. And I pray and hope that we shall be able to have a uniform stand when it comes to fighting some of these barriers. Most of the things of the East African country, I feel my country, Uganda, has opened up so very much. I hope others, at the end of these deliberations, we shall be at the equal footing. In Uganda, we give all these opportunities. What about our counterparts? Well, it's something I hope the 14th East African Procurement Forum will handle in relation to procurement. Have a lovely day. God bless you. See you tomorrow.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.